Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Francis Entertainment Center. Today's next stories are called Culture Shock and F.U.N. Enjoy the videos. On a slow day at the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs is manning a free salad bar. SpongeBob is preoccupied with cleaning roux and dust particles off a table, and Squidward is daydreaming about dancing. Mr. Krabs is getting irritated at the lack of customers when one decides to come in. Ecstatic at finally getting a customer, Mr. Krabs orders SpongeBob to capture the fish's every whim. Unfortunately for them, the fish was only looking to get change for $1 and is driven away by SpongeBob's excessive enthusiasm, though not before leaving a penny behind for SpongeBob. However, Mr. Krabs notices the penny and gets the drop on it first. As Mr. Krabs stores the penny away in his vault, he gives two employees the bad news. Profits are way down this month and they need a gimmick to bring in customers. His request for ideas yields a response of apathy from Squidward and increasingly absurd ideas from SpongeBob. After Mr. Krabs points out that he was thinking along the lines of live entertainment, Squidward hits a brainstorm, the first Krusty Krab talent show, which he would host. He nearly blurts out his intent to make himself into a star, but quickly corrects his faux pas by claiming it would bring culture to this cultural wasteland we call Bikini Bottom. That would bring in much needed revenue, and also Mr. Krabs' daughter Pearl could become a star through this as well. SpongeBob is excited at the chance to show off his talents and run off to call his parents, while Mr. Krabs gives Squidward approval to organize the show. Preparations are undertaken at the Krusty Krab for the upcoming show. SpongeBob asks Squidward when he is going on the show, even demonstrating his act, which consists of blowing a hippopotamus-shaped bubble, then tap dancing along with it. Unfortunately, the talent does not impress Squidward, who claims it is not cultured enough. SpongeBob runs off, vowing to come up with the most cultural performance ever. Later that evening, the Krusty Krab is packed. Among the audience attending the show are Patrick and SpongeBob's parents, the latter of whom Mr. Krabs personally introduces himself to and nonchalantly admits his miserliness. Backstage, Squidward makes it very clear to everyone else that it is his own chance to reach his stardom, but is interrupted by SpongeBob's newest act, inflating himself with water to show off his absorbency. Squidward once again shoots him down, not wanting SpongeBob to ruin his chances at stardom. SpongeBob tearfully begs Squidward to let him on the show, claiming he will do anything, so the cephalopod assigns him to clean up after the show is done. SpongeBob, not realizing that Squidward has assigned him the custodial duties, endeavors on his new act with great enthusiasm. Squidward goes on stage to introduce the audience to the first Krusty Krab talent show, in the process making a joke about how no one else would give the Krabby Patties a home. This greatly amuses Patrick to the point where he randomly interrupts the next part of Squidward's speech with loud guffawing, not able to get a word edgewise. Squidward eventually just introduces Pearl by her name and alone leaves the stage. However, Pearl is unveiled with a set of cheerleader pom-poms, and Mr. Krabs is ecstatic to see his daughter in the spotlight. Her act is a cheerleading routine about the Krusty Krab, but her size and weight launch the entire audience up into the air with each jump, resulting in everyone eventually lying about in various states of pain. As she leaves the stage, SpongeBob drops into a badger Squidward about his next act, asking which direction he should map the floor, but the latter simply ignores him. The next act is poetry by SpongeBob's pet snail Gary. While the pet speaks and meows, no one, except for Sandy, can understand how good his poetry is. Squidward is increasingly anxious at this point, both from how much time Gary is wasting with his act and from SpongeBob bothering him again. The third act is performed by Mr. Krabs' business rival Plankton, who puts on a magic act where he plans to make Krabby Patties disappear before the audience's eyes. However, it is just another ploy to steal the Krabby Patty formula, one that Mr. Krabs put a stop to. Plankton, vowing revenge, attempts to vanish into thin air with a magic spell, but only blows himself up and leaves the restaurant in shame as the crowds boo him. The crowd by this point is getting fed up with the terrible acts. Mr. Krabs storms backstage, angry at the lack of good responses. Squidward temporarily placates him by claiming he saved the best for last. A build-up of spotlights, Squidward finally arrives on stage with his dancing gear, wearing a blue swimsuit to looks of confusion from the audience. Squidward starts out dancing to orchestral music before the music suddenly changes into a trance-like techno beat. Squidward's dancing also becomes incredibly bizarre. Unfortunately for him, his time in the spotlight comes to an abrupt end when the audience members, completely disgusted by his talent or lack thereof, erupt into boos and pelt him with tomatoes from the free salad bar. Mr. Krabs, hoping to cash in on the audience's rage, quickly slaps a $1 price tag on the front of this free salad bar, which one audience member admits is worth every penny, because they all hate Squidward's act more than all of the other acts put together. Infuriated Squidward defensively criticizes the audience for having no appreciation for his talent, only to be coldly rebuffed as the equally enraged crowd chants, "No talent!" repeatedly. Furious, he storms backstage, where waiting SpongeBob asks where he can go on now. Squidward permits him to do so. As the show is over, much to the Sponge's confusion, SpongeBob gets to work on cleaning the stage, only to receive an unexpected surprise. The audience not only interprets the cleaning as an act, but appreciates it. Squidward thinks the audience has changed their mind about him and charges in as SpongeBob leaves, only to be met with silence. He storms off again, and SpongeBob continues cleaning to great applause. Squidward charges in and is once again met by silence. However, he begins to realize that SpongeBob seems to be tied to the audience's sudden change in behavior, and tries several times to get the audience to cheer for him by doing SpongeBob's act, only to be rejected and have another tomato thrown at him. Squidward is forced to conclude that it is SpongeBob the audience is cheering for, and watches from the sidelines. Squidward gets praised by Mr. Krabs for organizing the event, and SpongeBob's parents for making their son a star. Mr. Krabs, lying in a wheelbarrow full of money, says he will need another one for next week's show. Squidward can only sigh and watch with sad envy as SpongeBob gets a standing ovation for his cleaning skills. It's business as usual at the Krusty Krab, until suddenly an alarm begins to blare, signaling an attempt by Plankton to steal a Krabby Patty. Plankton, Patty in tow, escapes outside by making a hole in the door with a laser. SpongeBob chases after him, and after a long chase across the cityscape, SpongeBob finally recovers the Krabby Patty and is congratulated by the townsfolk, while Plankton walks home downcast. SpongeBob, feeling sorry for Plankton, decides to befriend him. SpongeBob invites Plankton to go jellyfishing with him, realizing he can't take advantage of SpongeBob. Plankton goes with encouragement from his computer assistant/wife Karen. At Jellyfish Fields, Plankton remains fixated on evil and destruction, while SpongeBob tries to explain fun to him by singing the F.U.N. song. Eventually, Plankton starts singing the song as well. First he sings with his own version with violent lyrics, but eventually he sings SpongeBob's version and seems to finally be having fun. He seems to forget about stealing the formula and begins to develop a genuine sense of friendship. When Mr. Krabs sees this, he refuses to believe that Plankton has changed and sets up a trap for them when he goes to the Krusty Krab meet SpongeBob the next day. He attempts to tempt Plankton with a Krabby Patty, but Plankton sits motionless and apathetic with the patty in front of him. After SpongeBob and Plankton leave to go to the movies, Mr. Krabs begins to suspect that Plankton really has gone straight and nice, until he realizes that he actually did take the patty. At the Reef Cinema, Mr. Krabs appears in front of the projector and demands everyone in the theater to reach into their friend or partner's pocket to see what they have got. SpongeBob reaches into Plankton's pocket and finds a Krabby Patty. SpongeBob realizes that Plankton used him to get a Krabby Patty. Plankton attempts to explain that he realizes now that he only ever wanted friendship, before admitting to everyone and running off with the patty through the movie screen, tearing it in half in the process. SpongeBob believes Plankton won, but Mr. Krabs tells him he did not. He shows SpongeBob behind the screen, revealing Plankton to be badly squashed on a damaged concrete wall with the patty. SpongeBob apologizes to Mr. Krabs, and they decide to go back to the Krusty Krab and have a fresh Krabby Patty. Mr. Krabs flicks Plankton off the wall and onto Bubble Bass's hand, where he mistakes Plankton for a jelly bean. Angered, Bubble Bass chases Plankton around his hand with him screaming,